right, good afternoon and welcome to the Site Plan and Architectural Commission meeting of August 1st, 2025. Can we have roll call, please?
Ms. Pierce?
Here.
Mr. Bender?
Here.
Mr. Camiller?
Here.
Mr. Niehammer?
Present.
Mr. Akery?
Here.
Ms. Powell? Mr. Thomas? And Mr. Whitlock?
Here.
All right, we have a quorum. Item 20 is our consent calendar. There are 3 items. These are items that we discussed at the July 18th, 2025 hearing. Is there any discussion on these? All right, may we have roll call to accept the consent calendar? Yes, Mr. Whitlock?
I'd move that the commission approve the consent calendar.
All right.
Second.
Okay. Can we have roll call, please?
Yes, you may. Ms. Pierce?
Yes.
Mr. Akery?
Abstain.
Mr. Camiller?
Abstain.
Mr. Bender?
Yes.
Mr. Niehammer?
Abstain.
Mr. Whitlock?
Yes.
We have 3 yeses
Is that enough to?
and 3 abstains.
So we're tied.
It's still a simple majority.
Right? Yeah, so, okay. The consent calendar will be accepted as presented. Item 30 is approval of the minutes from the July 18th, 2025 meeting. Are there any additions or corrections to be noted? Hearing none, the minutes will be approved as submitted. Item 40 is oral requests and communications from the audience. This is an opportunity for anyone that is here to speak on items that are not on the agenda and can come forward and discuss those. If you are here, please make sure to sign in before taking a spot at the podium. And I don't see anyone approaching, so we'll go ahead and move on to item 50, which is the public hearings. Before we begin, will council please explain the rules that govern this public hearing?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I am going to explain the rules that govern this hearing. Before the hearing begins, city staff will give a report. The report will list the criteria that govern the city's decision. After the staff report, the hearing will be open for other speakers. The applicant will speak first and may ask for rebuttal time. Following the applicant, any other interested person will be allowed to speak. Before the hearing is closed, anyone who needs more time to present evidence must ask for more time. If you ask, the hearing will be continued or the record will be kept open, and you will have at least 7 days to present additional written evidence. Any testimony, argument, or evidence you give must relate to the criteria listed in the staff report or other criteria in the comprehensive plan or land use regulations that you believe apply to the decision. If you fail to raise an issue or do not give the commission sufficient information so that the commission and any party can respond, you will not be able to appeal that issue to the Land Use Board of Appeals. If you do not raise constitutional or other issues about any proposed condition with specificity so that the commission can respond to that issue, you will not be able to bring a court action for damages.
Thank you, Mr. Schambach. If you are here to testify before the commission today, please remember to sign in noting your name and address before taking the podium. And when at the microphone, please also state your name and address for the record. In addition to the rules explained by council, we'll be using a timer during this hearing. The applicant or their agent will be given 10 minutes to present their application. Individual citizens who would like to testify will have 3 minutes. If someone would like to come forward and speak for a group of citizens, they'll be given 5 minutes to testify. The applicant or their agent will then be given a further 5 minutes for rebuttal. Time is up when the buzzer sounds. First item, 50.1, is AC 25-168, consideration of plans for the construction of a convenience store, 7-Eleven, and a fueling station. The site consists of a single vacant parcel totaling approximately 1.56 acres located between Crater Lake Avenue and Crater Lake Highway 62. Address is 4283 Crater Lake Avenue and is zoned heavy commercial with a restrictive zoning administrative mapping overlay. Applicant is Guggenheim Development LLC, agent is Tate and Associates Incorporated, and planner is Dustin Sievers. Are there any members of the commission that have potential conflicts of interest, have had ex parte contacts, or conducted site visits on this item? All right, seeing none. Dustin, can we have a staff report, please?
Yes. Thank you. Good afternoon, Commissioners. Dustin Severs with the Planning Department. I'll be presenting the staff report for 7-Eleven. This is file number AC 25-168. We do have one new exhibit to include in the record. Actually, might have another one later on, but this was received from the applicant earlier this morning. We did forward it over to the Commissioners. So this is their grading plan, and on it, they highlight the areas where the pedestrian walkways will be located and the abutting areas where they're served. So we'll be talking about this pedestrian connectivity later in our presentation. Looking at legal requirements, so the criteria for SPAC are found in section 10.205, and they are included in your staff reports. Looking at the project summary, so the subject site consists of a single vacant parcel, totals approximately 1.56 acres. So this was recently modified. When this application was initially submitted, this is all one tract of land. So the applicant went through a partition last year, and they just got final plat approval just a few months ago. So since the application was submitted, this is now one lone parcel separated from the parcel to the east. Site is fronted by Crater Lake Highway along its westerly boundary. Crater Lake Highway is a major arterial street. Along its northerly boundary is Crater Lake Avenue. This is a commercial street. We'll probably be talking a little bit more about Crater Lake Avenue, this stretch of it, as the future of it, exactly what's going to occur here in the future, is still not clear up to this point. Look at the surrounding area. So you're familiar with the car dealerships to the west. You have Highway 62. And there's some significant future developments that are going to occur to the abutting property. So to the north is MD2B, which the subject site is a part of. And as you can see, this mixed developments here. There'd be a combination of commercial, multifamily, and single family. Just north of Crater Lake Avenue, they're proposing 200 apartment units. And then to the south of the property is the Coker Butte Business Park. This is a planned unit development that was recently was approved a few years ago. They went through a few revisions. I actually have a minor revision in the queue right now. So a lot of developments in this area. Next slide shows an image of the subject site looking east from Crater Lake Avenue. You see there are some significant slopes leading up to Crater Lake Avenue from the site. And we'll be talking about those slopes a little bit more in the presentation. Site's general land use plan designation is commercial. Its underlying zoning is heavy commercial. As you can see, it also has an overlay, an administrative mapping overlay for a restrictive zoning. So when the property had its zone changed in 2023, they did a traffic impact analysis, and there was a trip cap established with the site, which is the reason we have the RZ applied to. They did provide a trip accounting of this development, as is required for all developments, each parcel within this tract of land. And the proposal is for a 7-Eleven convenience store along with an associated fueling station. Look at the site history. So as stated earlier, the subject site is part of the MD2B planning unit. So it was annexed into the city, and its urbanization plan was approved in 2022. And the following year is when they did the zone change from SFR 00 to CH. They also removed the EA exclusive agricultural overlay at that time. And again, that was the time they submitted the traffic impact analysis, and they established the trip cap. And in 2024, the planning director approved a 2-lot partition. That final plat was completed just last month. So again, this tract of land is now split in two. As you can see, there is a private driveway which splits these two parcels, with half of it going to the subject property and the other half going to the parcel 2, which is currently undeveloped, and I'm not sure if there are any plans currently to develop that portion. Moving along, looking at the submitted site plans. So the commission can find that all the proposed structures meet all our bulk standards in terms of height, lot coverage, and setbacks. Site plan shows a trash enclosure located to the east of the 7-Eleven, and they provide an elevation plan showing it is designed with those materials are allowed per the code. Looking at parking, they're proposing 22 spaces, which falls in between the minimum and maximum required for this type of use. Site plan also identifies some bike racks, providing 6 spaces, which is the minimum required. They also provided a landscape plan. As you can see, the landscape plan shows extensive landscaping along both frontages and throughout the entire site. It's not clear if they meet the minimum number of shrubs, particularly along Crater Lake Avenue. So we did include a condition of approval. They provide an updated landscape, just demonstrating that they do meet those minimum required plantings. Looking at architecture, we're all familiar with 7-Elevens. It's pretty much your basic type of architecture. The applicant's findings does state that the architecture is similar to some of the car dealership buildings across Crater Lake Highway. So we did, just a couple years ago, we included added a section of the Land Development Code for retail fuel stations, which abut residential zone property or residential properties that are used residentially. So looking at our GLUP map, the property to the north and the south are zone commercial, and as stated before, it is the intent for the property to the north to do apartments there. They're required to be built at MFR 30 standards, so there is an abutting residential use, so these standards do apply. The standards are pretty simple, just requires that the fueling pumps are 100 feet from the abutting property, which they certainly are. Then as far as the canopy, there's some size requirements for the canopy, and the commission find that those are satisfied. Finally, there's also some standards for lighting. It's not clear if that satisfies. We just need to make sure that the applicant provide that information with their building permit submittals. Actually included as condition number 9. I mentioned it in the staff report, but I didn't include it in the conditions of approval. So we actually have three new conditions to our condition of approval. So that'd be Exhibit A-1 replacing Exhibit A. So this is the first of 3. Move along, talking about landscaping again. So this is something we just changed a couple hours ago. So the applicant did send an email. So as stated before, it is the intent for Crater Lake Avenue to extend to the north with the MD2B as is developed in the future. And we're not clear what the future of the existing stretch of Crater Lake Avenue is going to be, whether it's going to be vacated, whether it's going to be built out as shown on their site plan. It's not clear. So the applicant, and mentioned before, there are significant slopes along that section of Crater Lake Avenue. So the applicant is requesting, and staff is supportive of them deferring the installation of that landscaping to a further time till we find out exactly what's going on with that intersection. So we did include as a condition of approval that they install landscaping within 6 months following the approved public improvement plan for the intersection of the existing and future Crater Lake Avenue. Next, I did include a sign plan. So I'd like to add a condition here because I want to make it clear we don't rely on the commission to review sign permits. It's something we do at a staff level, and we didn't take a hard look at what they submitted. So I'd like to add a condition. This is number 11. This be prior to the issue of a certificate of occupancy, and that simply that we'll review their plans for their sign permits at that time. So with the adoption of their plans or their findings today, it does not include the sign permit. We'll be reviewing those separately, their plans. Finally, let's bring us to the issue with the pedestrian walkway. So section 10.772 does state that these walkways are intended to provide safe, direct, and convenient pedestrian access to new developments. And section 10.776 provides the commission with the authority to grant relief from putting in pedestrian walkways at certain areas, provided there is an alternative route which is reasonably direct. So looking at the surrounding area again, there's some pretty significant developments going to be occurring in the very near future near the abutting property. As stated before, you have MD2B, which is again is a plan for multifamily just north of the subject site, and further to the northeast, there's actually a future school site. There'll also be other commercial developments, other residential developments. So a lot of people will be potentially a lot of potential pedestrians coming from the north. And then to the south, we have the Coker Butte Business Park, which has preliminary approval. So looking at a few images of the site, looking east, you can see, as I pointed out before, there is significant slope. There's a railing which extends past where the roadway is currently constructed. So it's unlikely we're going to see a lot of with the Crater Lake Avenue constructed as is, it's unlikely we see a lot of pedestrians crossing over in this section. However, when you go further to the south, the landscape does flatten out, and this is where the sidewalks on both sides of Crater Lake Avenue are currently terminated. So as these folks travel from the north to the 7-Eleven, it's likely that they'll probably cross over somewhere in this point, either follow this future sidewalk to the driveway, or even cross over the pedestrian connectivity or the walkways that are created once this adjoining property is constructed. And also, we have to look at pedestrians moving from the 7-Eleven to the Coker Butte Business Park to the south. So we brought this up at the land development meeting with the applicant, and we've been discussing with them this week. We asked them to provide a plan kind of demonstrating how they're going to satisfy the requirements for pedestrian walkways. They did provide this. This is Exhibit Q. This is one that we forwarded over to you this morning. Again, to show a walkway across the 7-Eleven building connecting to the future sidewalk on Crater Lake Highway, which extends down and will cross over the private drive, which will serve the Coker Butte development to the south. However, we are very concerned with not only providing direct access to Coker Butte to the south, but particularly to the north when we have this new development. We want to make sure that folks can safely travel and they have the most convenient direct route in order to get to the 7-Eleven. As you know, people all take the path of least resistance. We've had these issues in the past where developers have walkways in place, but a lot of times they're not going to be that's not the route folks are all take, particularly young people are all go the path of least resistance. So we did come out with this new plan. I'd like to include this in the record Exhibit R. We just drew this up this morning. So the green is the new areas where we're proposing that the developer add to the site plan. Now there are some. This can be a bit of a challenge because there are some slopes along the west side of the driveway, as long as along the northerly portion of the driveway to the south. So I'm sure the applicant will speak to this, but this is kind of a conceptual ideal of what we'd like to see the pedestrian connectivity shown as. And we can work with the applicant, but we certainly need some kind of development, direct connection to all this new development we have to the north and to the abutting property to the east when it develops. Moving along, so the commission can find that the two criteria are satisfied. And with that, we ask that you adopt the finding as recommended by staff and direct staff to prepare the final order for approval of AC 25-168, and that's per the staff report dated July 25th, 2025. Includes exhibits A1, A1 being our revised conditions, adding those three conditions that I showed on the screen earlier, through R. Our two new exhibits is Exhibit Q, the pedestrian plan provided by the applicant, and R, which is the proposed pedestrian plan provided by staff. And with that, I can take questions. We'll also have the applicant in the meeting on Zoom, and also have Mr. Doug Burrows here from the Public Works Department, so I might defer to him if you have some questions about the Crater Lake Avenue. Thank you.
Thanks, Dustin. Are there any questions of Dustin or Mr. Whitlock?
Thank you. So Dustin, then what is the plan with respect to the sidewalks? You and the developer apparently have different perceptions as to what would satisfy the requirements, kind of the modified requirements through the discretion of the commission. Mm-hmm. So what would our approval of exhibits Q and R mean?
Yeah, I think we have a condition stating they have to meet the requirements, which states that they have to have connectivity to each side, north, east, south, west. So we would ask you to maintain that condition, and we could work with the applicant. I mean, I'm not sure if we're asking you to adopt the conceptual plan we came up. We're trying to give the applicant an idea of what we're going to be asking for, and we can work with them. But we definitely like to keep the condition in place, stating they need to meet the requirements. And the applicants do understand those requirements, and I think they're pointing to the fact that there are some constraints out there in terms of slopes, and there may be potential they may not be able to meet ADA requirements due to those slopes. So I'll just wait to hear from the applicant and see what they say about that.
Okay. Is there some reason why this happened like this morning instead of last week?
Yeah, it was a little late. It was brought up at the land development meeting. We've been in communication, and as often happens, it kind of got pushed off to the last minute. I apologize for that.
Madam Chair, if I may, there is a matrix called a land use tracking matrix. It's in the record at R125 or in the record at page 125. Is there any significance to that the commission should be aware of? Because I couldn't figure out what it meant and if there is any significance to it.
Let's take a look. $125, you said?
125. It's at the bottom of the page.
That's
Up
right.
one. Almost there.
Oh. Yeah. You know.
So Madam Chair, if I might.
Yes.
So I'm Kelly Aiken with your Planning Department. So Commissioner Whitlock, that is, as Mr. Severs had
Oh, I
mentioned,
see.
this is part of the MD2B urbanization plan. And part of our responsibility in administering these plans is to keep track of the GLUP designations and the utilization of them. So that's what this table does. So far we've had Skyview Estates phases 1, 2, and 3 have been approved by the Planning Commission. So we're keeping track of the number of units that have been approved and what's left. And so since this project is part of MD2B, we also need to keep track of the amount of acreage that's being used and what's remaining. So that's the point of this table. It's a larger exercise in keeping track of what's happening in that urbanization plan.
And so it effectively shows whether any of the proposed development would violate any of the approved conditions of the MD2B urbanization plan.
That's correct.
Okay. And is it all first come, first serve?
Yes, I think so. I mean, there's a plan. We have the comprehensive plan, the GLUP designations, but we do need to keep track of their utilization, particularly the density. We're very concerned with making sure that we hit that 6.6 units per acre density that is required.
Right. And I assume MD2B is not under single ownership, right? I mean, I assume there are multiple owners of the properties
That's
within
correct.
that area?
That's correct.
And have we heard from any of them regarding any potential objections they might have with respect to this urbanization proposal?
Not that I'm aware of. There's nothing in the record.
Okay. It's
It's a fair question.
I have the same thought about the, traffic cap limits as well. It's a significant proportion of the traffic that is being captured by this development. And of course, that by necessity will restrict development to the north relative to this as well. So anyway, that is my questions. Thanks very much, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Anyone else have questions of staff? Okay, we'll go ahead and open the public hearing and welcome the applicant or their agent either to the podium or via Zoom.
Yes, can you all hear me? This is Erwin Gama with Guggenheim.
Yes.
Great, thank you. Appreciate the overview and the presentation, Dustin. As far as the developer, we're going to be the developer, the preferred developer, working with 7-Eleven, obviously to develop this site. I've been working with them the last several years, building out their network on the West Coast. Very excited about this particular project. It'll be the first that we're doing in the Oregon market. Been working with the seller and have been under contract with them since January of this year, working through our initial due diligence. Obviously, we've gotten a set of plans before you guys to review. Have also submitted concurrently with the building department to collect their review comments as well. As far as timeline, we're working towards getting through the entitlement approvals here, this being one of the major ones, and then obviously getting through the permitting as well. The anticipated schedule on our end is to get all permits in hand prior to the end of the year and close on the property. And we've been working really diligently with the seller as well. They've been great to work with in terms of the developments going on their end as well. They've gotten most of the utilities already completed to the site. There's a couple of remaining items which, in speaking with them, they have, about another 30 days of work or so for them to really wrap everything up. At the latest by end of September, beginning of October is their timeline to really just get everything solidified. That way, as we work towards our development schedule and closing, everything will align in terms of drive aisles, utilities, everything needed to feed the site for the 7-Eleven tenants. Couple of quick items just regarding the constraints that we have on the site, and I do have our civil that kind of chime in a little bit as well on this, but did want to point out to the north of us, there is a significant slope easement that we're accommodating. You can see it right there, kind of where that northeast arrow is pointing to. It's literally in the slope easement. So our site is constrained by that as well. So we've kind of pushed our development to accommodate that, and that is part of the plat that was recently recorded. So something to mention, just because of the improvements that we have shown on the plans as well, will be affected by that. And Dustin covered that a little bit with the landscaping, since there is a fair amount of landscaping that was proposed in that area. We're looking to defer that, obviously, for a couple of reasons, to not disturb, obviously, the landscaping that may have gone in there if we completed that as part of our development, and then also, any future grading activities that may be required for the slope easement. So until the Crater Lake Avenue vacation is confirmed or not, we're looking to defer that. And then as far as the connectivity, the interconnectivity, that is something that's still ongoing. I do want to raise the concerns that we have, at least on our end, in terms of what was proposed by city staff. In particular, the connection. In particular, the connection, at least on the northeast and there, due to the significant grade changes that we have on site, would be very difficult for us to actually maintain that. That's the required ADA slope of 5%. Certainly willing to work with staff, obviously, to get to a feasible solution here for all parties. And obviously, we'd love to get more pedestrians to the 7-Eleven, as well as drivers to the property as well. But just with the grade changes here, it will be somewhat of an issue. But again, something that we're willing to work towards. And if needed, I have, again, our civil that can kind of give you a quick overview of kind of the challenges that we see, at least at northeast side, as well as that southeast side where the green is depicted.
Good afternoon. I'm Luis Cornejo. I'm with Tate & Associates. We're the civil engineer on the project. So as Erwin was saying, this property and the project, or really the land in general, the surrounding area, is sloping from north to south pretty significantly in general. And then the slope directly to the north of us is about a 12-foot drop. And the pictures really don't even do it justice. It's a pretty good drop from Crater Lake Avenue down to our site. So in general, a sidewalk up along that road that bisects Parcel 1 and Parcel 2 will be greater than 8%. The road itself will be. So if we did a sidewalk that was adjacent to the road, it wouldn't meet ADA even with handrail. So that's probably not that feasible. I guess we could do sidewalk there, but it's not going to be ADA, and it's going to create a bigger problem because we're assuming a 3-to-1 slope along this side of that road. We're in complete agreement of getting interconnectivity with, the projects to the south and to the north. And, it's more customers for 7-Eleven, so we would like to accommodate that wherever feasible. For now, we are already connecting to the sidewalk along Crater Lake Highway. Directly to the west of us, where the red arrow is, and then that would basically connect us to everything to the south. And eventually, there will be, whenever something develops to the east of us, it would be necessary to have more sidewalk to connect all of the adjacent parcels. For now, we would end up having to do a retaining wall right now if we do it adjacent on our side of the road. Again, because this drops significantly just even along our site, if it's about a 3 to 4 foot drop from the edge of our parking lot down to the road to the south of us. And I think it's 3 or 4 feet for most of it. So we'd end up having to put in a small retaining wall along the back of those parking stalls. So there are some constraints, but again, we do want to have interconnectivity with the rest of the site and certainly with the rest of the neighbors. Just want to make sure that it's something that's feasible and is going to be used by people. If you have any questions, I'm open to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, both of you. Any questions of the applicant? All right, Mr. Whitlock.
If I may, very quickly, I'm still confused. This is Rick Whitlock on the commission. I mean, it seems like I agree with staff that there needs to be some sort of connection to the north because there is going to be, theoretically at least, a significant residential component of that development. And I think somehow there needs to be that connectivity to the north. And I don't think that the proposal that the applicant presented in Exhibit Q accomplishes that task. So, where does that leave the commission? We can either deny the application because you have not met those connectivity concerns from my perspective, and I'm not saying the whole commission agrees with that, or I just don't see any alternatives here that satisfy, in my mind, that connectivity issue. Do you have any response to that? I mean, I recognize there's slope concerns and ADA compliance concerns, but I don't see a solution from either side, either from staff or from the applicant. Thank you.
Mr. Whitlock, there is sidewalk along Crater Lake Highway that's going to go in and will connect to the north. The yellow that's highlighted there on the exhibit that's up should also go to the north.
Which exhibit are you talking about? Which exhibit?
Exhibit R.
Thank you.
On Exhibit R, we've highlighted the road to the south to connect to everything, but that sidewalk also continues north along Crater Lake Highway and does connect to the northern properties at a much more gradual slope than what will be the future road to the east of us up to Crater Lake Avenue.
Mr. Whitlock, did you have a further comment or?
Well, the only comment I have is I agree with staff that pedestrians are not going to go that roundabout way from that northern development, far to the west and then down the south. They're going to take the path of least resistance and the shortest path. And so I think there needs to be something along that roadway that basically divides the two parcels of that partition.
This is Commissioner Cameller, and whether it's ADA or not, I don't see why you wouldn't have sidewalk going from the store directly up to Crater Lake Avenue. There are sidewalks on steep roads everywhere, so I don't see why that needs to be ADA. I mean, ADA somewhere, but it just seems like it would behoove the developer to have a sidewalk where this green is drawn from the store up to Crater Lake Avenue.
Yeah, if I may, this is Irwin with Guggenheim as well. So just to comment on that, and just to reiterate, we're obviously willing to work with staff on a feasible solution here. I think it's going to come down to not just the ADA, but what would actually make sense. And it may be a little bit different than what's shown on Exhibit R here. But it's definitely something that we're willing to work towards. I mean, obviously, this is just something that came up the last couple hours and since yesterday, so haven't had a whole lot to work off of, and I have our engineer kind of looking into this already. So hoping that we can come up with a design solution that works for all parties. And again, I do agree that the connectivity to the north is something that we would like as a landlord, and 7-Eleven would like as a tenant. So I do want to make sure that you guys are where we're on the same page there. But in terms of final design, again, I would like to work with staff on that and come to something that's feasible for all parties.
And Dustin, for clarification, that is still a condition that is recommended by staff, is to come to an agreement, correct?
Yeah, so we're asking they meet the requirements of 772, which states they have to have, shows pedestrian walkways to each direction. So as provided by the applicant on Exhibit R minus the green, which is what staff added, they do not comply. They're not showing connectivity to the east, and they're not showing to the north. So we're asking that you uphold condition number 6. If you agree with the applicant, you would have to grant them relief per the other section of the code for pedestrian walkways. And again, we're not, this is the conceptual plan we have in the green is we want to give the commission and the applicant an idea of what we'd be looking for, but we'd be absolutely willing to work with the applicant to come up with a solution to provide access to the east and to the north.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Are there any other questions of the applicant? All right, well then we'll go ahead, and I don't know if there's anyone else in the audience that wishes to speak on this item. I'm assuming you'd like to reserve time for rebuttal if there is. Mr. Gamma?
Yes, correct. Sorry, I was on mute there.
Yeah, I'm assuming you'd like to reserve time for rebuttal if there is anyone in the audience which would like to speak on this item?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, all right. Well, just to check, are there any other members?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
may I ask staff to put up the revised Exhibit A1 so I can see what else, those additional 3 conditions. I'm looking at the packet, and it only has 8 conditions, so I know there are 3 additional ones. And so it's condition 6 that we have been discussing regarding the connectivity. Is that correct? Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Mr. Harlan?
Good afternoon, Commissioners. For the record, Jay Harlan with CSA Planning with offices at 4497 Brown Ridge. I'm here just testifying. We have worked on the Crater Lake Business Park, and we actually did the zone change there for that tax lot 902. So I just wanted to clarify for the record with respect to Mr. Whitlock's comment about the restricted zoning. That is limited. That is not urbanization plan wide. That is just limited to tax lot 902. We did the zone change for that. For the seller, they are perfectly aware, and there's a giant spreadsheet for these properties and all the other ones that's keeping track of trips. And that's just the nature of the beast with restricted zoning, and it's quite a good time. But so I just wanted to clarify for the record that on the trips front, everybody involved here knows what's going on and what the consequences are of this particular project on this site from a trip allocation standpoint. Thank you. Is there any questions about that?
Mr. Whitlock?
Just to make sure I'm clear, you're saying that trip cap relates only to this parcel?
We did a partition, so it's
Both of those parcels?
yeah, it's basically the area, sort of the weird little below the little S there, right? But
Got it.
it's one owner. They're all involved in they're involved in the transaction between. So there's everybody knows what's happening. Is my point for the record.
Thank you. I was confused that the trip cap might have related
extended
to the development
beyond.
to the north. Yeah,
Correct.
Thank you. That's very helpful
Yes,
for me.
that is
Thank you.
helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, that's what Kelly was speaking to on really the unit thing for the urbanization plan. That is a much broader area, but for the trips, it's just these lots.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks. Are there any other questions of the applicant? Anyone else that would like to speak on this item? Mr. Gamma, or, I'm sorry, I don't recall the other gentleman's name on the call. Do you have anything else to add?
Nothing further on my end. Appreciate it.
All right. If there's no further comments, staff, do you have anything else to add?
No, Madam Chair, thank you.
All right. Well, then we'll go ahead and close the public hearing. Can I have a motion for consideration? Mr. Whitlock.
Madam Chair, if I may, I would move that the commission adopt the findings as recommended by staff and direct staff to prepare the final order for approval of AC-25-168 per the staff report dated July 25, 2025, including exhibits A through P and new exhibits Q and R, and a new A1 replacing exhibit A with 3 additional conditions having been added. My motion includes specific authorization for staff to work with the applicant regarding compliance with condition number 6 related to the pedestrian connectivity issue.
Thank you.
Second.
All right. We have a motion and a tie for a second. Any further discussion? All right. Can we have roll call, please?
Can. And just for the record, Jeff Thomas has joined us.
Okay.
So he is on Zoom. Mr. Whitlock.
Yes.
Mr. Bender.
Yes.
Mr. Camiller.
Yes.
Mr. Thomas.
Yes.
Mr. Niehammer.
Yes.
Ms. Pierce.
Yes.
And Mr. Akery.
Yes.
We have 7 yeses.
Thank you. The motion passes. Next item is 50.2, AC 25-144, which is consideration of plans for a remodel and expansion of an existing building, a
Madam Chair,
nutrition.
excuse me for interrupting, but
Yes.
did I hear 7 yeses? There's only 6 of us, aren't there? Today?
Mr. Thomas.
Pardon? He's on Zoom. Oh, he's on. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I didn't. My apologies, Mr. Thomas.
All right, AC 25-144, consideration of plans for a remodel and expansion of an existing building, a nutrition and intake distribution center to add a cold storage unit and to raise the roof. The site consists of a single parcel totaling approximately 1.29 acres located at the southeast corner of Cardinal Avenue and Excel Drive, and is zoned general industrial. Applicant is Access Development Corporation, agent is CSA Planning, and planner is Dustin Sievers. Are there any members of the commission that have potential conflicts of interest, have had ex parte contacts, or conducted site visits on this item?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
if I may, I did run into the applicant's agent in the elevator on the way up, and I asked a short clarifying question. I did get some information from him, but all that being said, I'm ready today to render a decision on the information as presented in this meeting, and I don't believe that contact will have any effect on my ability to cast a fair vote in this case.
Okay, thank you. I am going to need to recuse myself as the business I work for is part of this application. So I'll turn it over to Mr. Bender, provided nobody in the audience has any questions or regarding his affiliation with the applicant on this. Okay.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Or Mr. Vice Chair? Mr. Vice Chair, I think it would be appropriate for you, Jeff, to disclose to the commission any information that you might have that we don't with respect to this application. So you said you asked a question, a clarifying question, and I think it would be fair to the applicant and staff and the rest of the commission members if we knew kind of the content of that.
The question regarded which portion of the existing Access campus was being modified here. My firm, in a legacy capacity, had done the Olsrud Nutrition Center there on the Access campus, and I was just saying, is that the building that we're looking at today that has had the roof raised? For the record, Mr. Harlan did not wasn't able to answer my question definitively. So, in a further glance at the materials in the record, I was able to determine that indeed that was the building that was in question. So that was the nature of the question.
The question was really more about whether you had a significant conflict that might interfere with your judgment than anything to do with the application itself. Is that fair?
Yeah, and whether or not I had correctly conceptualized the information that was in the record, given what I knew from previous life about the nature of the development there.
Thank you, Mr. Bender and Madam Chair. Thank you.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
Thank you for the clarification.
Yes.
I am going to turn it over to you.
All right.
There you are. And
Ooh, the gavel. All right, moving on, as Ms. Pierce leaves us here. Could we have a staff report, please?
Yes, thank you, Dustin Stevens, again, with the Planning Department. Next up is Access, this is file number AC 25-144. We do have a few new exhibits for you. They were all forwarded to you by email. So the first three are replacements. Exhibit V is an updated topographic map showing the additional 5 feet of the PUE. And Exhibit L is an updated site plan, which also shows that same additional 5 feet of the PUE. And the original plans, it showed the 10-foot, but didn't show the 5-foot, so they got those added to their plan. Exhibit X is a corrected Medford Water Commission report. So the one that was originally submitted when we published was for 7-Eleven, so we made sure to get those switched over. So that's Exhibit XY. And finally, we include Exhibit BB. This is provided by the applicant. This is documentation of the easement of the PUE. We can skip the criteria. We've already addressed those. So we'll start with the project summary. So the site consists of a single parcel. It totals approximately 1.29 acres. It is currently developed by the Access Development Corporation. The street along its westerly boundary is Aviation Way, a commercial street. Along its northerly boundary is Cardinal Avenue. It is a major collector street. There are 2 driveways currently off of Aviation Way, and that is not proposed to change with the development. Surrounding area is mostly commercial and industrial. We have Hobby Lobby across the street to the east, and further to the southeast is Super Walmart, and of course Highway 62 to the west. In Exhibit I, the applicant provides several images of the subject site and the subject building. Site's general land use plan designation is general industrial, and its underlying zoning is also general industrial. It's in the airport area of concern. And the proposal is for a remodel and expansion of an existing buildings, a nutrition and intake distribution center. And the proposal is to add cold storage unit and to raise the roof. So we do have a certain exemptions for additions to buildings. This one exceeded that threshold ever so slightly, so it does require us to bring this to you. Moving along, the commission can find that the addition meets the bulk standards of the code. They are increasing the height. It's 32 feet. If you account for the parapet, it's almost 39 feet, which is still well below the maximum allowed for the zoning district. And it also barely meets that 10-foot setback. Again, the part of the building is encroaching within the 5-foot, but it's still set back 10 feet from the front property line, and meets all the other bulk standards of the code. As far as vehicle spaces, they're not proposing any new spaces, and the code does allow for expansion of existing developments, not to provide additional parking. It does meet those standards of section 10.7412B. So no new parking. There's also existing bicycle spaces out there which also meet the current standards. As far as landscaping, so there is an existing landscaping out there. In order for them to comply with current standards, they have to add some trees, some shrubbery. They provide a conceptual landscape plan. However, it's not clear if they do meet those standards. So similar to our previous application, we'll ask that they submit a landscape plan. It needs to be provided by a State of Oregon registered landscape architect. And I just want to make sure they do meet all the standards in terms of the number of trees and shrubs, and they meet all of our irrigation standards. Architecture, not much to say here. The applicant's findings state that the building will be visually and functionally compatible with the adjacent land uses. Again, this is an existing building. They're all continue with similar architecture. And really the main issue with this application has to do with the encroachment into the 5-foot PUE. So typically PUEs are 10 feet. Occasionally we do have these 15-foot wide PUEs. It's not, perhaps Mr. Harlan of CSA can speak further to the history. I'm not sure how this 15-foot PUE came about. However, it does exist. As you can see, they are encroaching in the northwest corner of the building in that 5-foot PUE. So their option is to either modify the building, or a second option is we do have in the code section 10.159 allows the planning director to approve a removal of a public utility easement, all of it or just a portion of it. In this case, they'd be looking to remove that 5-foot section. It does require approval from the various private utility companies, so I have to reach out to those. Not supposed to be any utilities in there. I guess they do have the options of removing the utilities if they do exist, and Mr. Harlan can speak further on that. But we are going to add that as a condition of approval, that they obtain approval through the planning director for that 5-foot, to remove that 5-foot existing PUE. If it doesn't work out for them, they'll have to modify their plan to reduce the size of the building. That's something we can approve administratively as a minor change to the SPAC approval. The commission can find that the two criteria are satisfied with the conditions of approval. And with that, we ask that you adopt the findings recommended by staff and direct staff to prepare the final order for approval of AC 25144. That's per the staff report dated July 25th. Includes exhibits A through BB, as well as exhibits XY replacing exhibit X, exhibit L1 replacing exhibit L, and exhibit V1 replacing exhibit V. And with that, I can take questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Dustin. Any questions for staff at this point? Anyone? No? All right, thank you, Dustin. With that, we will move ahead and open the public hearing with the applicant's agent to speak first, please.
Thank you, Commissioners. Again, for the record, Jay Harlan with CSA Planning with offices at 4497 Brown Ridge. We're the agents of record for access on this. I guess Dustin did a good staff report like he usually does, and we would request approval. As far as the history of that PUE, I mean, we saw the documentation. The whys, honestly, I know even less about that than the answer that Mr. Bender had before the hearing. I have no idea like why they did it that way, and it was kind of weird. It was like after the subdivision was platted, then they went and added another 5 feet of easement, but as near as we can tell, there's no utilities in it, so who knows? Somebody along the way decided another 5 feet would be good. So, but I suspect, you know, as Commissioner Neathammer is well aware, like going and finding utilities, sometimes you got to do it a couple times before you get 100% convinced there aren't any. But that'll kind of be the next step, is to make sure there really aren't any, and if there are, I mean, I think it's just dry utilities, so you just agree to pick them up and move them, and then ask the planning director to make those adjustments. So with that, I would request the commission approve it as recommended by staff.
Thank you, Mr. Harlan. Anybody have any questions for the applicant's agent? No?
Thanks.
All right, thank you, Mr. Harlan. We'll reserve time for rebuttal should it become necessary. Is there anybody else in the audience that would like to come forward and speak on this item? Seeing nobody come forward. Mr. Harlan. All right, so we will go ahead and close the public hearing, and would love to hear a motion on the item. Anyone? Mr. Whitlock.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd move the commission adopt the findings as recommended by staff and direct staff to prepare the final order for approval of AC-25-144 per the staff report dated July 25, 2025, including exhibits A through BB, as well as exhibit X1 replacing exhibit X, exhibit L1 replacing exhibit L, and exhibit V1 replacing exhibit V. I also notice in the conditions, condition number 2 references exhibit X, and that should be now exhibit X1, which is the revised Water Commission report.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on the item? All right, could we have roll call, please?
Yes, you may. Mr. Thomas,
Yes.
Mr. Niehammer,
Yes.
Mr. Camiller,
Yes.
Mr. Akery,
Yes.
Mr. Whitlock,
Yes.
and Mr. Bender.
Yes.
We have 6 yeses.
Thank you. We will pause for a moment as Commissioner Pierce rejoins us on the dais. I will relinquish the gavel.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Bender. All right, let's see. Next item is item 60, written communications, and there are none. Item 70 is new business, and there is none. And item 80 is report from the planning department.
All right, thank you, Madam Chair. Kelly Aiken with your Planning Department. A few things for you. First off is an update on the Downtown 2040 plan. Earlier today, I sent a link to you about the plan. The Planning Commission had a study session on Monday, so there is a draft out and about. I wanted you all to have the opportunity to take a peek at it. And I think I've told you a few different times that we're going to lean on you to help us work through some design standards as that comes up. But just so you know kind of where it is in the process, it is scheduled for hearing before the Planning Commission at their next meeting and then up to City Council in September. For you, I do have business scheduled for you for August 15th and September the 5th. September the 5th, I would expect kind of a raucous meeting. Just so you know, you might want to be prepared for that one. Yeah, and then we have a study session for you immediately following, so don't run off, and we'll stay in chambers if that's all right with all y'all. And I think that that's all I have for you.
Are you suggesting we need to come with arms then, or what? What's?
No, you can't get past security with arms. I'm suggesting that you eat your Wheaties and be prepared to hear some testimony. It may be a longer than normal meeting.
I'm planning on bringing my arms to the meeting, quite frankly.
That's right. That's right. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll repeat that. Item 90 is messages and papers from the chair, and I have nothing. Item 100 is propositions and remarks from the commission. Anything? Mr. Whitlock.
Madam Chair, my apologies to the Commission. I will be unavailable for the meeting on August 15th unless I can convince my family to reschedule some portion of a planned trip. So I'm working on that, but I think I will be gone.
All right. Thank you. Anyone else? All right. We go ahead and adjourn this, and then we open up a study session. Okay, just want to make sure. So item 110 is adjournment, and we are adjourned. Thank you.
Can we take a little break?